Well, let's talk about linear measure. And these are the content standards and our mathematical practice number 6 that we'll use when we start doing our assignment. Previously, you've identified and modeled points, lines, and planes. And in this lesson, we're going to measure segments and we're going to calculate with measures. We have 5 new vocabulary words: line segment, betweenness of points, between, congruent segments, and construction. Now, construction we'll be using in an assignment after we finish this video. Construction will not be covered in the video. Unlike a line segment, or simply segment, can be measured because it has 2 endpoints. Now, a segment with endpoints A and B can be named as segment AB or segment BA. The measure of AB is written as AB. The length or measure of a segment always includes a unit of measure, such as a meter or an inch. Now, whenever you're talking about measurements, if they don't give you a measurement, then just refer to it as with the word units. All measurements are approximations depending upon the smallest unit of measure available on the measuring instrument. So looking at this measuring instrument, notice we have millimeters. So going from point A to B, we know that B is closest to the 42 millimeter mark. So the answer, segment AB, is about 42 millimeters long. Let's look at the length of AB using a ruler. Notice we're marked in centimeters, and it's divided into fourths. 1, 2, 3, 4. Point B is closest to the 4.5 centimeter mark, so segment AB is about 4.5 centimeters long, or 4.5 centimeters long. Now it's time to check your progress. So pause the video and select your answer, then come back and check, see if you're correct. "18 millimeters. Okay, did you count these off? How many of these are in between? That's the first place. Okay, find the length of segment ON. We've got centimeters now. So about 2 centimeters. Now let's look at the length in standard units. Just for an interesting tidbit, you know there's only 3 countries in the world that still use standard units: the United States, Myanmar, or also known as Burma, and Liberia. How about that? Everybody else uses metric. We have to be different. So find the length of DE. Well, notice that each inch is divided into 16ths. Point E is closer to the 3-inch mark, so DE is about 3 inches long. Let's try this. Find the length of FG. So how many is this marked? It's divided into fourths, isn't it? 1, 2, 3, 4. Point G is about 2 and 1, 2, 3 fourths. So segment FG is about 2 3/4 inches long. Time to check your progress again. So find the length of segment AZ and then come back and check your answer. 1.5 inches. Very good. Notice they give us what our marking, our rulers marked in inches. So let's find the length of segment IX. Did you come up with 2 1/4 inches? Very good. Okay, moving along. Now there's a concept known as betweenness of points. Recall that for any 2 real numbers, A and B, there is a real number N that is between A and B, such that A is less than N is less than B. This relationship also applies to points on a line and is called betweenness of points. Notice that point M is between points P and Q. If and only if P, Q, and M are collinear, so that means they lie on the same line. And PM plus MQ is equal to PQ. Okay. Measures are real numbers so that All arithmetic operations can be used with them, and you know that the whole usually equals the sum of the parts. That's also true of line segments in geometry. So we're going to find measurements by adding. Find xz. So if they don't give you a drawing, the first thing I do is draw whatever it is they're talking about. Helps you visualize what it is you're trying to solve. Now, and we're also going to assume this figure is not drawn to scale. We're given that XY is 4 5/8 inches long, and segment YZ is 2.5 inches long, and we're to find XZ. So we simply, XY plus YZ is equal to XZ. So our answer is segment XZ is 7 1/8 inches long. Okay, try your hand at this one. Pause for a moment, then come back and check your answer. That was easy, wasn't it? 16.8 millimeters plus 50.4 millimeters is 67.2 millimeters. Okay, so let's kick it up a notch. We're to find LM, and we're also to assume that this is not drawn to scale. We're given that LN is 4 centimeters, and MN is 2.6 centimeters. So what we're going to do, since M is between, is we're going to subtract. We know that 4 centimeters and subtract 2.6 from it will give us the measurement of LM, which is 1.4 centimeters long, or 1 4/10 centimeters long. Okay, again, time for you to try your hand at this. Pause the video, then come back and check your answer. So we've got 3 inches, and we subtract from it 1 3/8 inches so that we can find out what TU is. And TU is 1 5/8 inch long. Okay, now we're going to write and solve equations to find their measurements. We're asked to find the value of x and the value of ST if T is between S and U. So you start by drawing your figure. T is between an S and a U. We're told that ST is 7x and SU is 45. And that TU is 5x minus 3. So we know that 5x minus 3 plus 7x is going to equal 45 because of betweenness of points. Solve for x, and we get 4. But we're not done. We were also asked to find what ST was. We're told ST is equal to 7x. Well, if x is 4, we simply multiply. So we know that x is 4 and ST is 28. Okay, time for you to try your hand at a problem. Pause the video and come back and check your answer. Okay, did you set your equation up 6n minus 10 plus 3n is equal to 17? When we combine our like terms and solve for n, we end up with n is equal to 3. And so 6 times 3 is 18 minus 10 is 8. Very good. Segments that have the same measure are called congruent segments. Notice the symbol for congruent is read congruent to, is congruent to, and the red slashes, these hash marks, also indicate that these segments are congruent. So we could say that segment AB is congruent to segment CD, and here it is written symbolically. For a real-world example, the Arial font is often used because it is easy to read. Study the word time. So here we have the word time in Arial type. Each letter can be broken into individual segments. The letter T has 2 segments, 1, 2. Assume that all segments overlap where they meet. Which segments are congruent? Well, let's look. First of all, we have 5 vertical segments, T, I, M, and E. So M has 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All of these vertical segments are congruent. Now we have horizontal segments on the T and on the E. So there are 4 horizontal segments that are congruent. Then we look at the diagonal in the M. The 2 diagonal segments in M are also congruent. So check your progress. Now, Some of these, there may be more than one right answer when you're looking at the graph, but they don't have them all listed here. So which of these is the best answer? Pause for a moment, then come back and check your answer. Why, sure, zoo and board games, right? They're both at 14%. If they'd had picnic and museums listed together, that would have been a choice, but they didn't. So very good. You are ready to begin your assignment.